of Sadat, who changed the political orientation of Egypt. So, I mean, at the end of the day, in a way, we pay the price of this type of patient.
So could you tell us a little bit about, obviously you just said that you've been here since the beginning of the transitional period for Egypt. How did you observe that? What were your impressions of it?
Well, the transitional periods, one of the main characteristics is that it is a unique exercise. It depends very much on the country that you have it, the problems, the social traditions, the social establishment, the political establishment. So there is nobody that could really give you a kind of expertise or advice how to deal with this transitional period. For us, I could compare it with our own traditional period after the collapse of the communist regime in '89. And it is a very painful period because, first of all, there is a type of political vacuum. And because the society is very impatient to feel a real change. And the real change doesn't come in 1 day or 2 months or even 2 years. Our transitional period lasted about 7 years. We went to a terrible economical collapse in '96, and only after '96 we managed to bring it to the right track. And my feeling, of course, Egypt is much more complex again, and the environment is totally different. If you compare with Bulgaria decided to put enormous efforts to join the European Union, which finally managed after 10 years of very hard work in 2007. In Egypt, but during this period we were strongly supported by our European friends and partners. And this is essential because, again, in such situation, the country is very fragile. The problem is one of the main issues here is that Egypt is surrounded by a very hostile environment. Wherever you look around, you will find only problems. And traditionally, Egypt is the cornerstone for the stability in the region. So, if you face problems with the instability here, can you imagine the others are facing around you? And this environment is affecting the processes here. So it is like a football game that you need to kick at least 10 balls at the same time. And that's a very complicated exercise. But again, Egypt is a country with a great potential and traditions, and it will take, of course, long period.
But did the January 25th and the June 30th revolutions change anything about the dynamics of bilateral relations?
They, let's say, I wouldn't say they change the dynamic of bilateral relations because we not only kept the trade turnover on the same level, but we increased it even during this difficult period. And political contacts, they have never been cut or frozen during this period. I mean, we did our best to keep, I had here at least 3 visits of our foreign minister. Our president, mature president, last September in New York. There is a lot of exchange. We participated, thanks to Egypt, to this Gaza Donor conference again on the minister level, and we took the opportunity to have some bilateral talks. Again, I mean, for us, Egypt, it is the most important partner in the Middle East, and it is the biggest economical partner. Our trade exchange for the last year is about $320 million US. And this year, over the first months, we managed to do about $240 million US. in 4 months of the last year. So I believe that we are on the right track, and we managed to keep, despite the difficulties, and the difficulties are not only in Egypt. We had difficulties at home as well. I mean, we had early elections, we had a very unstable parliament last year, which was very disturbing our foreign policy activities. But despite the facts, as you see, we managed quite well.
The World Bank has lowered the 2015 economic growth forecast for Bulgaria. According to the World Bank Group's Economic Prospects, the GEP report released on Wednesday, Bulgaria's economy will expand by 1.1% in 2015, down from the 2.4% GDP growth predicted in June. Meanwhile, Bulgaria's finance ministry anticipates that the GDP growth of 0.8% in 2015, while the European Commission expects Bulgaria's economy to expand by 0.6% in 2015, according to reports of DNEVNIC.de. The International Monetary Fund and the European Bank for the Reconstruction and Development expect Bulgaria to register GDP growth of 2% in 2015. The World Bank is more optimistic about the Bulgarian economy in 2016 and 2017, with growth forecasts of 2% and 2.7% respectively. The World Bank has also downsized the forecast about the global economy in 2015 from a rate of 3.4% in June to 3%. The global economy is to grow by 3.3% in 2016 and 3.2% in 2017. The Eurozone economy is projected to expand by 1.1% in 2015. Bulgaria's economic freedom score is 65.7, making the economy the 61st freest in the 2014 index. The overall score is up by 0.7 point, reflecting improvements in the labor freedom, freedom from corruption, trade freedom, and monetary freedom. Bulgaria is ranked 28th out of 43 countries in the Europe region, and the overall score is above the world average but below the regional average. Over the 20-year history of the index, Bulgaria has advanced the economic freedom score by about 16 points, a top 20 improvement. In more recent years, Bulgaria has taken steps to restore the fiscal discipline despite a challenging economic environment. Public debt and budget deficits remain among the lowest in the region. Continued reform efforts, particularly in strengthening the independence of the judiciary and eradicating corruption, are needed to solidify the foundations of the economic freedom and ensure progress toward greater prosperity.
Mr. Ambassador, I'd also like to ask you about your views with regards to the terrorism that the region is facing. Not only the region also, but we're also having our own problems with the terrorism and the phenomenon of that, especially in the Sinai Peninsula. What are your views on that?
I mean, you correctly use the word phenomenon. And it is a real phenomenon. And it is not designed, this phenomenon is not designed only for the Middle East, but is affecting everyone. I mean, I believe that finding a solution of this problem, we need to go to the roots of this. At least what I have heard from your president, he is quite well informed, and he well understands what are the real rules. The real rules first are the frustration in the society, a lack of perspectives for the misuse of any ideology, among the religion, especially in this case, is the religion. We condemn, of course, I mean, we cannot do anything else but condemn and share efforts against the terrorists. And it is a very complicated and complex mechanism that should be applied to fight effectively against this. Because as you see what happened a week ago in France,
Yes.
What is happening in Belgium. I mean, it could happen everywhere, because everywhere you have frustrated people. And if you try to marginalize certain people, then you open very largely the door for the radicalism. because for them, I mean, it's human nature. Everyone wants to be listened and to share his desires for the future and to do, something that is benefit for his personal life and for the family. And if there are no opportunities, I have, there are different conspiracy theories about Daesh, for instance, in Iraq. But I truly believe that Daesh is something that doesn't have ideology. It is not ideological movement. It is a movement of frustrated people, the people without any values in their life. But here we need to think who and what are the circumstances that created such type of people.